dips down, and it seems like fish are just relating to that. Oh gosh. Oh God. Look at that guy. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Well, good morning, everybody. Today we're going to talk about frog fishing. Who doesn't love catching good bass on a frog? I know I love it. Everyone loves it. Frog fishing for bass 101, basics, beyond the basics, everything you need to know about frogs today we're going to cover. You know, one thing I see way too many people do is set the hook way too early with a frog. You know, they see the big splash and they just immediately set the hook and they miss that fish a lot. The thing is that a fish is gonna hold on to a frog for a while, actually. You know, I might just test it out. The next fish that bites this, I'm not even gonna set the hook on, just to show how long a fish will actually hold that bait. Now, if it's a big one, I'm probably gonna set the hook. But if it's not, or I don't think it is, I'm gonna show you how long a fish will actually hold on to frog. And that's why you don't need to set the hook right away when a fish eats a frog. You can wait a couple of seconds even before you set the hook. Allow that fish to get that bait, and you're gonna be able to hook a lot more on a frog. Clear Mississippi, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi. Fish has still got it. 5 Mississippi, 6 Mississippi, 7 Mississippi, 8 Mississippi. I'm just gonna sit on them. I got to 8. You see what I'm saying though? Look at that, fish didn't even have it swallowed. He just held on to it for that long, and that's only about 1.5 pounds. That fish would have held on to it probably longer. So all I'm saying is don't set the hook too early on a bass when it eats a frog, because they will hold on to that thing. That sucker held on to it for 8 seconds, and then I just couldn't stand it. I literally had to set the hook. I should have waited to see how long it would hold on to it, but 8 seconds, set the hook, and still caught him. So just remember that when you're frog fishing. That's a small fish there. Little fish. Not a big one. Oh gosh. Are you kidding me? Well, I just lost that fish, but it brings up a good point that I want to talk about. And that is that a lot of people think that because it's a top water bait, that it's really only going to work, a frog for instance, is really only going to work in the mornings or maybe in the evenings or at night. And that's really not the case. Yes, they will work during those times, but I actually think that a frog works best right in the middle of the day. When that sun gets up, what it does is it creates shade lines. And over here, I have a shade line that I was just fishing, just hooked up with a fish. And when those shade lines are created, it actually kind of sucks bass into those areas. It actually makes it easier to target fish. And one of the best ways to present a bait to them is a frog. You can skip it into that shade line really far back. Really, you can't, it's hard to get other baits that far back. And then something about a frog, it just gets that big bite. So really keep that in mind. You might have to fish the frog a little bit differently, but it's not just going to work in the morning. It'll work all throughout the day. And again, I think it works the best when that sun gets up, those shade lines are created, and you can actually just target shade lines. It actually allows you to be a lot more efficient out on the water. Gosh dang it, I missed that fish. Oh gosh, that's a big old head joker. Look at that thing. Oh God, holy crap. Look at that guy. Dang it, guys. Dang it. I missed that blow up. Gosh, that's a big one. Gosh, I missed that blow up. Man, I'm mad. Look at that thing though. You think he didn't get it? Yeah. Oh God. Did you see that? Woo! Man. I don't know if that was the same fish or not. That first one seemed way bigger, but gosh, I love the frog. Maybe it was the same one. If you can't tell what I'm fishing right here, there's just a little bit of grass, a little underwater grass, and there's just a little bit of an edge here where it dips down, and it seems like fish are just relating to that. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Yeah. Oh, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That's literally 3 casts in a row. I caught about a 4.5 pounder, didn't get it on tape, caught a 1 pounder, and then just lost about a 3. That was my fault. I rushed it. You gotta be kidding me. So when it comes to actually fishing the frog, there's a lot of different ways that you can do that. Okay, one of the ways that you can kind of work a bait is actually in a fast way, where you like to pop it across the top of the water and then kill it. Pop it across the top of the water and kill it. That's kind of like a chugging style way of fishing the frog, and it can be very effective, especially when fish are really, really active. Another way, and probably the standard way, is to walk the dog, where you're gonna make that bait go left and right, left. Oh, there's a big bass right there. Oh my gosh, that was like a 4 pounder. Okay, sorry, just got super distracted because I just seen a 4 pounder just cruising. Thanks for not biting my frog, dumb fish. Anyways, so you got chugging the bait, you got walking the bait. Another way is to fish it extremely slow. I like to walk it in place as much as I can. Another thing with the frog that I think is one of the most effective ways to catch fish is when you skip it into an area, let the rings of your bait settle before you even move that bait. Something about that bait just sitting there, and then all of a sudden you just give it a twitch, just a small twitch. I have caught so many bass where I just let those rings settle and then make a small twitch and that fish inhales it. I don't know what it is, but I'm telling you, if you do that on every single cast, you're gonna catch a lot more bass. Okay, I waited on him, he didn't eat it. Let's see if he'll eat my sink out. Yep, he just clobbered it. That's exactly why you always want to have a backup bait. You always want to have a follow-up bait. Anytime you're fishing. Come here. That fish missed that frog. I even gave it to him. I let him have it for about a second or two. He missed it. I cast right back onto him and he ate it. So always have a follow-up bait. I'm telling you, if this was a tournament, I would be thrilled because I caught that fish even though he missed my bait. I don't even most of the time worry about throwing my frog back at him to see if he'll eat it again. I just go right to the follow-up bait. Now obviously the best thing about a frog is you're able to get a frog into cover where you can get no other topwater bait. That is what is most effective. So keep that in mind because you actually want to get this bait in the heaviest, thickest cover that you can, way back underneath of a dock, way back underneath an overhanging tree. The further you can get this thing away, it seems like the better. So when you're fishing a frog, try to put it in some heavy cover. Yes, every now and then you're gonna get hung up, but this thing will come through a lot of cover. All right, guys, so let's talk about equipment when it comes to fishing a frog. Now, first of all, let's start with your line. Your line, you're gonna wanna use braided line when you're fishing a frog. It's a necessary, it's absolutely necessary. Don't fish it on anything else. Fish it on braided line, okay? Now, I prefer 50-pound braid for almost all my frog fishing applications. Almost no matter what I'm doing, I'm gonna fish 50-pound braid. I typically will step it up to 65-pound braid if I'm fishing around a lot of big fish in heavy cover. You know, if I'm fishing Lake Gunnersville, you can catch a 6-7 pounder at any cast, and a lot of times you're dragging that frog over mats and things like that. So in big fish, heavy cover situations, I will step it up to 65-pound, but for the most part, I'm using 50-pound braid. I just like the suppleness of 50-pound. I think you can work a frog a little bit better with the 50-pound braid. So let's talk about rod. Now, rod length, really the biggest thing you want when a frog rod is you want either a medium heavy to heavy action rod. Somewhere in there, you want some stiff backbone to be able to set the hook and be able to pull fish out of cover, but you also want tip. You also want a good amount of tip because you want to be able to place that bait into a very specific area. And having a lighter tip is going to allow you, again, to be able to roll cast and get that bait really exactly where you want it. So again, that medium heavy to heavy action rod. Now, when it comes to length, there's no perfect length for a frog rod. What I'm gonna say is whatever works best for you. If you're landing fish, if you're hooking up for fish, use that, keep it going. Because really when I'm fishing around, say for instance, like I am now, if I'm fishing around laydowns and under boat docks and under overhanging trees or even around rock, I really like something in that 7.1 to 7.3. This is a 7.3. That basically, that little bit shorter rod, that's not really a short rod, but a shorter rod for a frog rod really allows you to be able to precision cast into areas that you need that bait to go. Now, if I'm fishing a frog where I'm basically dragging it over vegetation, you know, dragging it across the mat, I'm gonna step up the rod to maybe a 7'6" just to have more power, to have more leverage when I hook a fish in that slop to be able to drag him out. But if you can only have one rod and reel, I'm gonna suggest go with the 7'3" medium heavy to heavy action rod, 50-pound braid, and then of course your frog. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I can't believe I didn't get this fish on my GoPro. I literally had just caught another one. I turned it off, forgot to turn it back on. I can't even get him in the frame here. It's probably about a 4.5 pounder, big old head on him. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this frog fishing video. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll get to you. Thanks, have a good one. I'll see you in the next one.